Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zeng here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're going to continue laddering up with Ben's team, which we featured in yesterday's episode, of course built by 2015 Seniors US National Champion Bennett Piercy. A really fun episode yesterday. It's a pretty short one, so if you've not seen that, definitely check it out. But we're going to hop back onto the ladder, currently actually with a rating of 1813, so we'll see if we can maintain the rating over the 1800s and even try to push for the 1900s this week. Once again, huge shout out to Ben for allowing me to use this team. I think it's really fun, and I can't wait to show you guys all the tricks that has up its sleeve. Go give him a follow on Twitter, it's in the description below. Fantastic national champion, and I'm really looking forward to how he does at the World Championships in around 2.5 weeks, so it should be really fun there. As always, if you guys enjoy Road to Rank, please show your support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. In addition, a couple of days ago I mentioned that I'll be starting a new series this week, and I've already recorded the first episode. I'm just basically getting a thumbnail for it, but it's a series where I'm going to analyze some of the stream matches from Nationals, so I think that'll be really fun. Those should go up in the next few days, so stay tuned for that as well. I think it'll be a really exciting series other than Road to Ranked, as we're going to find a 1675 rated player from Japan for our first opponent of the day. Opponent here is rocking a very interesting team. Lots of unique Pokemon. Gyarados, Chandelure, Sceptile, Rhyperior, Ferrothorn, and Rotom Heat. So none of these Pokemon are honestly too standard. I mean, Rotom Heat's still pretty popular, but I feel like Rotom Wash has gained a lot of usage. I mean, they're pretty even in terms of me seeing it in VGC. Rotom Heat was really good last year because of the fact that there were so few fire types, but this year there are more fire options, for example, like Heatran. And then Chandelure is a real throwback to VGC 2011. That's when it was used a lot. 2012 too. It's seen usage here and there, but not that popular. Could actually potentially have Trick Room given that Rhyperior and Ferrothorn are on the team as well. Though I actually anticipate the Rotom Heat having Discharge and the Sceptile being a Mega Sceptile, so you just discharge, especially with the Choice Scarf. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see that. If that is the case, that might be a little bit annoying to deal with here. So let's see what I want to lead with. I mean, Latios here does get the Fast Draco Meteor off immediately, but I don't know how much that really helps. I guess Nidoqueen here is actually quite good as well because of the fact that I can resist the Discharge should my opponent, go with it. Salamence here also not too bad though. Sceptile is a Pokemon that typically likes to carry like Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, maybe a Hidden Power, so I'm actually pretty scared to face Sceptile. Though I guess I could just lock myself in a Draco Meteor. So perhaps I'll just lead Latios here. And next to Latios, I still kind of like Salamence or Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen gives me options against Chandelure and the Rhyperior right from the start in case my opponent wants to lead with those. So maybe I'll go Nidoqueen. Should I bring Volcarona? It's kind of tempting here given that it beats Sceptile and Ferrothorn. Then again, it's not very good against anything else. I think Salamence here is still good. And I kind of want Scizor for my last one, actually. Yeah, I'm going to go with Scizor just because it gives me another answer to Sceptile, and I can also just Bug Bite things and Feint, which is kind of a really fun move. We haven't featured Scizor yet, but it's actually got an Expert Belt with Feint, Bug Bite, Protect, and Bullet Punch. So Bullet Punch also gives me an answer against Rhyperior in terms of damage output, even if Trick Room's up. So I'm going to lead with my Latios and my Nidoqueen here, as my opponent decides to lead with Rotom and Gyarados, I believe. Yep. So let's see, Intimidate activates. Not too nice facing this lead actually, because Nidoqueen really can't do too much damage-wise. He can Thunderbolt me, so I'm probably going to want to switch out. Not Thunderbolt, but Waterfall that slot. It's a tricky start. I would say I want to eliminate the Rotom before anything else, though. I think Rotom's a bigger threat, just because of the fact that it threatens my Scizor. And once I eliminate Rotom, he can't Thunder Wave, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, any of those moves if he carries them against my Salamence, which I think is important. So I might just go straight for the Psychic onto Rotom. I could double up into it this turn. Maybe just Sludge Bomb. I'd rather switch out into Salamence, though. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to switch into Salamence, get my Intimidate off immediately. So unless my opponent goes for a Will-O-Wisp onto Nidoqueen, this should work out fine, but, you could make a really good prediction here. So Psychic should do a lot of damage to Rotom, and the nice thing is this actually, I do carry Rock Slide on my Salamence, but he actually withdraws the Gyarados out into, I believe that's Ferrothorn. Yep, so he did bring Ferrothorn here, but I do get an Intimidate off here immediately to kick things off, and then the Rotom is going to be in KO range as well, so not the worst. However, beating Ferrothorn might be a little bit difficult here. I don't have super effective attacks right now since I didn't bring my Volcarona or my Breloom. He actually goes for the Overheat with Rotom, and that outsped my Latios? I'm guessing it's Scarf. Maybe I should have double-checked this Latios' EV spread. I think it's actually more offensive than it is bulky. Or, excuse me, it's more bulky than it is offense, which is why, I mean, obviously his Rotom is going to be Scarf there. Knowing that, though, I can just go for a safe Psychic into that slot. And Overheat still did so much damage to me. And I'll go for the... He's probably going to... I mean, you would think he's going to switch out. Obviously, Overheat's not doing anything. I could Protect here with Salamence. Or I could switch back out. What would I switch out into? Nidoqueen? Do I really need Salamence at this point in the game, even? Salamence is still pretty good to have. You know what? I'm just gonna go for the return immediately onto the Ferrothorn. Get as much damage off as possible while I can, since I know this is a relatively free turn. So he's gonna withdraw Rotom, which is a good play. Gyarados is gonna come back in, so he does get an Intimidate off. But the nice thing is, Latios' Psychic right now is actually helping me out a lot. And yeah, it is interesting to confirm the Rotom's item there. So I do believe this Latios is Modest Nature, so as a result, his is going to be faster if he's timid and like max speed. So he's actually going to Protect her with Ferrothorn, which I would say is better for me just because Psychic should do a ton of damage to the Gyarados here, maybe even put it in KO range from another one, and then I can potentially switch out my Salamence this next turn. Unfortunately, I don't pick up the knockout there, or not the knockout, but don't bring it down under 50%. It's going to be close. I'm not sure if another one will knock it out since I don't know the damage roll there. So this is kind of a tricky turn here because Gyarados could Protect. It might also use something like Ice Fang or Thunder Wave. I really don't know. So I could just go for another Psychic onto it and go for... I could double target it, or I could still go for the return onto Ferrothorn. Or I could switch my Salamence out here because of the fact that right now, you know, -1 isn't doing too much, and then he might pick up the return knockout with Gyro Ball. So this is definitely a tough turn. But part of me I just wants to double up onto Garrett. I could also just Rock Slide, actually. Yeah, I'm going to Rock Slide here. Okay, so he's not going to switch out. You know, that Rock Slide covers any potential switches. Psychic there doesn't pick up the knockout, gets a special defense drop. He does have Citrus Berry, so actually maybe -1 Rock Slide won't knock out Gyarados. Return might have been the better call there. Also because I might miss here. I actually do miss, so yeah, that wasn't a good move on my end. I guess I was hoping I could pick up the knockout there and flinch the Ferrothorn and give myself that chance, but obviously not worth the risk of missing. He however goes for the Thunder Wave onto Gyarados, or onto Salamence instead of the Latios, which is really good for me here. Oh wow, he's got a double Thunder Wave. So I didn't see that one coming, but that's kind of cool. Yeah, so picking up the knockout there onto Gyarados would have been great, but what can you do? I'll go for the Psychic here, and I think it might be good to switch out. Or maybe I can just go for the return. Yeah, I'll still go for the return here, I think. I need damage onto that Ferrothorn right now. He protects with that Gyarados, which is fine by me since he'll probably go for a Leech Seed or maybe a Iron Head. I could see that. Unfortunately, Salamence gets fully paralyzed though, and he is going to go for that Leech Seed here onto the Salamence. Okay. So that was a really unfortunate full paralysis since I need to start getting damage off against this Ferrothorn. And yeah, I definitely regret going for the Rock Slide play that turn, especially since I didn't get the flinch. But there was no reason to risk that miss. And unfortunately, you know, I kind of deserved the miss just because I didn't make the best play there. But I'll go for the Psychic here onto Gyarados once again. I kind of want to switch out here. Yeah, I'll switch out into Scizor. So the double Thunder Wave here really interesting, and Ferrothorn now is really frustrating me, and I wish I brought my Breloom or my Volcarona. One of those two would have been the call, but unfortunately with Gyarados and Rotom really scaring those two Pokemon off. So he's going to go for the Waterfall here onto Latios, basically fishing for that paralysis or that flinch. Let's see if he gets it here. Nope, Latios gets the Psychic off, so that Gyarados is gone. So we do pick up a knockout there, and Rotom is, of course, damaged. But once again, this Ferrothorn is going to be incredibly difficult to deal with if he keeps on spreading Leech Seeds. However, he actually just goes for the Iron Head here, which is good. Ferrothorn's a Pokemon that really wants to take advantage of spreading Leech Seeds whenever it can. And I think in that position, my opponent should have just gone for the Leech Seed. So we're not actually going to see Rotom Heat come out. It's going to be that Sceptile coming out here. I wonder if he's got Hidden Power Fire, because if not, then I can just knock him out. Let's see. I'm actually really surprised to see Rotom Heat not come in here. Wondering why. I'll go for the Psychic here onto Sceptile. And I'll go for the Bug Bite, or do I Protect with Scizor? I mean, I kind of want to Protect and scout out what he does. Could also switch out. I mean, he might just straight, like, go for a Dragon Pulse into that slot. Yeah, I guess Latios is the least important Pokemon at this point, so I'll just Psychic it. And I'll go for the... I could Feint, but I doubt... I mean, is he going to Protect here? That's the question. And I could Bug Bite Ferrothorn or Bug Bite the Sceptile. I'll go for the Bug Bite here onto Sceptile. See if I can punish him. So he's going to Mega Evolve, and yeah, I mean, Scarf Rotom Heat makes sense if you're running it with Mega Sceptile, so you can just spam Discharge. But if I can knock out either Pokemon here, as he unfortunately does go for the Detect with Sceptile, so good move by my opponent there. Potentially going for a Leech Seed here with Ferrothorn. Bug Bite fails. I could have Feinted there, so Feint Psychic might have actually been the play, as he is going to go for the Leech Seed here, targeting Scizor correctly, since, you know, this next turn he can use a Dragon-type attack on my Scizor. Or on my Latios, excuse me. Huh. So this is annoying. We're probably going to see a Dragon Pulse come out onto Latios. So worth switching out? Nah. So I'll just go for the Psychic one. Yeah, I really regret not Fainting last turn, actually. And I'll go for the Bug Bite once again. So unless he has, like, Hidden Power Fire, I mean, then he knocks out Latios, I get the Bug Bite off, and then I can put on more pressure with Feint. Just right now, the thing that's frustrating me most right now is the Ferrothorn. He actually withdraws the Sceptile, so I'm going to get a knockout onto this Rotom, most likely, which I'm okay with. So let's see, I get the Bug Bite off. Wonder if that's enough to knock out the Rotom. Nope, it falls just short, but Psychic comes out, it's going to be able to pick up the K onto Rotom. Kind of a questionable switch there on my opponent's end. I don't really know what he's going for. I guess he's going to go for another Leech Seed here right now with Ferrothorn, or maybe a Thunder Wave. Yeah, he actually launches the Thunder Wave, which is fine. So, I don't mind that play very much. I wonder if I can catch my opponent off guard this next turn, because a good move for my opponent would be to protect the Sceptile. So I could go for the Feint Psychic play this time around, but I don't know if that's worth going for. I mean, it is 4-2 in my favor right now, but once again, I have no way to really beat the Ferrothorn other than nuking it with attacks, and 3 of my Pokemon are paralyzed right now. So I'll go for the Psychic, and you know what? I think I'm going to Feint this turn. I think he's going to Protect. Let's see. Yes, he goes for the Detect. Great. So, as long as I don't get fully paralyzed here, Scizor gets the Feint off. It's going to break the Detect there. Oh my gosh, that did so much damage. Oh, Latios is fully paralyzed, though. Dang. He's going to go for the Iron Head here onto Scizor. Yeah, he knows that he needs to knock out Scizor right now. So I could have potentially won the game right there, since Psychic surely would have knocked it out. Or not knocked it out, but put him in another Feint or Bullet Punch KO range. So that's kind of frustrating, but let's see. This next turn, I'm just going to go for the Psychic and the Bug Bite. Yeah. The nice thing is, Ferrothorn is still slower than my entire team, even after he gets the Paralysis. So that's what I've got going for me right now. So we do see its moveset. I mean, we see Thunder Wave, we've seen Leech Seed, we've seen Iron Head. So I don't think it's used Protect yet. Maybe it has Power Whip. Oh, he actually has Focus Blast here with the Sceptile. He does connect with it. I think they'll knock out Scizor. Let's see. Yeah, picks up the KO, gets a critical hit there. Obviously, that didn't really matter, but nice move on my opponent there. Latios is paralyzed again. Are you serious? Oh my gosh. So, one, I could have Bullet Punched there, and I could have gone for just 2 full turns of paralysis. Really? That is frustrating. Okay, so how do we come back? Let's see. I'll bring in Nidoqueen. So I don't think he can knock out my Nidoqueen here. I'll Psychic and could just Earth Power here, or I could just Ice Beam into Sceptile. Oh, that was such an unfortunate full paralysis. You know what? I really want to double up into Sceptile here, but that's such an obvious play. I don't know, though. He might just be inclined to Dragon Pulse here, which I assume he carries. Psychic and... What would he do? Could Leech Seed, Nidoqueen, or Iron Head it. You know what? I'm gonna go for the... Or the Sludge Bomb, yeah. Oh, he protects, though. Okay. Oh, no! He protected with Ferrothorn! Oh, great, great, great. Okay, so he's going for the Leaf Storm here. Is that enough to knock me out? Let's see. No, the clutch factor. Nidoqueen hangs on with 31 HP. So Nidoqueen gets the Sludge Bomb off. That's going to knock it out here. Yeah, perfect. So, really scary game. I mean, it's still not over yet, but I definitely feel a bit better right now. Psychic obviously fails into the Ferrothorn. Leech Seed is continuing to heal him up as well. But so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to withdraw my Latios out into my Salamence. And... Do I want to protect with Nidoqueen, or do I just want to attack? I think protecting is the play here. Yeah, I'm going to protect. That way I can get a return and a Earth Power off, double target the slot, and then Latios can come back in and potentially Ice Beam or Heal Pulse as well. So I think I'll be able to close out this one since my plan was basically knocking everything out, everything else around the Ferrothorn at least. So Nidoqueen protects here, Ferrothorn goes for the Iron Head into Nidoqueen, perfect. And that does get rid of the Leech Seed recovery as well. So now I'm going to go for the return and the Earth Power. So he needs a lot going for him right now. Basically full paralysis. So I get this Earth Power off. Does good amount of damage. And Salamence gets the return off. No full paralysis there. Is it enough to knock out Ferrothorn? Comes so close. Doesn't pick up the KO, but I think we're good here. He does have Rocky Helmet, which, so we do confirm the item there. He's going to go for the Leech Seed here onto the Nidoqueen, which I'm actually okay with, because what this means is now I can just switch out Nidoqueen and switch it back in. I think I'll be able to survive one here. Yeah, and another Earth Power will knock it out, so it should be game. I mean, he's definitely going to protect here. But you do see that Salamence and Latios are both faster, so I'm just going to withdraw Nidoqueen out into Latios, and we should be good here. A really, really intense game here, though. This was considerably longer than the games we had on the first day, mainly because of this Ferrothorn. You know, if I had Volcarona as my last one, this easily would have worked out, but I didn't bring it because I was scared of all my opponent's other Pokemon. Still a bit confused about that Rotom Heat switch in as Salamence gets paralyzed once again, but that's perfectly fine. Now all I have to do is not get paralyzed with one of my two, and it's going to be game. So that was a really, really fun game, and Nidoqueen here should be able to seal the deal. Latios fortunately doesn't get fully paralyzed, gets the Ice Beam off here, picks up the knockout on Ferrothorn, and we pick up a 3-0 win, though much closer than the score indicated there, I think. You know, ultimately, that Rotom Heat being faster than Latios kind of caught me off guard, but that's because it is Modest Latios, so I wasn't anticipating that, but that was kind of cool to see. But also, the one turn where I really messed up, where I went for the Rock, so I played with Salamence and let him get 2 Thunder Waves off. I wasn't expecting both Pokemon to carry Thunder Wave. I was definitely anticipating the Gyarados to have it, but not Ferrothorn. But it makes a lot of sense with the Iron Head set. And kind of interesting to not see it carry Power Whip, but I think it makes a lot of sense with that moveset. So, just going to jump back onto the ladder now at 18-23. And I guess looking back at that game, things I could have done better. The one thing is not going for that Rock Slide play with Salamence. That was just utterly silly. I should have just gone for the return. You know, 100% accurate, punishes any switch outs either. And it wasn't like Rock Slide was hitting anything for incredibly hard damage anyway. So that was probably the biggest thing I would have done. And I don't know, I don't mind not bringing Volcarona there just because if you looked at his other Pokemon, I mean, he had Gyarados to hit it with Waterfall. Discharge from Rotom is always a bit annoying. Though I guess, he can't do very much against my Volcarona, even with the Sceptile. So, I guess a Pokemon change I could have made was bring the Volcarona over Scizor, but ultimately a pretty good game there, and really interesting team from my opponent. I mean, first of all, you don't see Mega Sceptile every day. You definitely don't see Leech Seed, or not Leech Seed. You see Leech Seed on Ferrothorn, but you don't see Thunder Wave that often on it, because typically it likes to use Gyro Ball, which takes advantage of your opponent's speed. So, you know, Ferrothorn's a Pokemon that's really, really slow, so it likes to take advantage of its opponents being really fast. But instead, when you get Thunder Wave and you get Iron Head off, if you're faster than them, you do, you know, get the paralysis and the flinches into your favor. Though, as you see there, Ferrothorn is such a slow Pokemon that it still can't outspeed a lot of Pokemon even after getting the Thunder Waves off, which is why I typically like the Gyro Ball set a bit better. But, it definitely put in a lot of work there, and fortunately enough, I mean, that's how you outplay Ferrothorn if you don't bring super effective attacks. Just beat everything around it, and then, you know, make sure it's like a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, and just keep on hampering it with attacks. And, you know, even neutral attacks will do a ton of damage as long as they're not from really weak Pokemon. So, second opponent of the day is going to be a 1768 rated player from Japan, rocking a very familiar Sand team with the Mega Gardevoir on it. We see Tyranitar, Excadrill, Salamence, Amoonguss, Gardevoir, and the Aegislash. So, let's see. Nidoqueen here is really good. It gets a super effective hit off against 5 of my opponent's 6 Pokemon, but it is going to want to avoid taking too much damage, especially because it's going to be slower than everything, really. Now let's see. The dual Mega here is really interesting. Gardevoir and Salamence, and I do like that a lot. That's one thing I was considering actually going into US Nationals. So the thing is, if he leads Tyranitar Excadrill, my Breloom can literally just shut it down immediately. Though this Breloom, as you'll later see, doesn't carry Mach Punch, it carries Super Power instead. But Breloom also punishes any, if my opponent brings in the Amoonguss. Then again, so I didn't like playing against Breloom when I was running this team, but he doesn't have a Water type, you know, a Azumarill or Rotom Wash, and he's also got Gardevoir, so a bit different there. because of the fact that Breloom actually doesn't shut this version of the team as hard, especially because he can Hyper Voice and get the Sand Chip damage or just Rock Slide with the Tyranitar. Though he doesn't know that I'm obviously not running Mach Punch, so that'll be interesting. Setting up Tailwind here will be incredibly difficult with Volcarona because he's got 2 Rock Slide users, Salamence, which can just double edge, you know, so that's not very fun. If I were my opponent, which Mega would I bring? Probably Gardevoir. That's what I would anticipate. So let's see what I want to lead with here. I still kind of like leading Latios. Actually, maybe Scizor. Yeah, I like Scizor here. Scizor Breloom, potentially. Latios in the back, maybe. I don't like Latios too much here, actually. Salamence good. I definitely want Nidoqueen here. Salamence might be still worth it. It's between Salamence and Latios. I'll go for Salamence. I think Intimidate's still good enough in this match, and Latios wouldn't do anything literally but Ice Beam his Salamence. So we're going to lock in there just as time expires, and we're going to see how this battle goes. I don't know, Volcarona is obviously tempting to bring when your opponent has a Moongus and Aegislash, but otherwise, I mean, the other 4 Pokemon really beat Volcarona hard, and it's not even a question. It's just like, I'm slower than them, you can just Rock Slide them or Hyper Voice, so not a fun matchup. He actually leads with Salamence and Gardevoir. That's really interesting to see against my Scizor and Breloom, so not a fantastic start for me here just because he does get that Intimidate off immediately with his Salamence, and I would guess then that the Gardevoir is not a Mega, or maybe he's still running Dual Mega and he just decided to bring Gardevoir. He's certainly not Choice Scarfed as the Intimidate went before, so let's see. It was not a fun lead. Not a fun start at all. I guess I'll go straight for the Bullet Punch here onto Gardevoir. Do I want to just Spore? I can't really afford to switch out. That's the tricky thing. So, I'm actually going to go for the Spore onto the Salamence. Because I do have the Focus Sash here with Breloom, so he basically has to double up. I guess if he dual Hyper Voices, he can knock out Breloom, but if that's the case, I don't know how fast his Gardevoir is either, because if it's slower than Breloom, which is Jolly Max Speed, I can just outspeed and get the Spore off. He actually withdraws the Gardevoir, which is a great start for me here. Tyranitar switching in here, so I see what he's doing here. I would guess he's going for the Hyper Voice here with his Salamence to try to just shut me down immediately. And the nice thing here is I actually do get the super effective Bullet Punch with the Expert Belt. Of course, Intimidated, but any damage is good damage, especially against this Tyranitar, which I presume is Choice Scarf, which would make sense, you know, Gardevoir's not going to be Scarfed there. So he's not going to Protect here, which is fantastic. Though let's see if he goes for the Fire type attack or whether he Hyper Voices. He does Hyper Voice, so I do get the Spore off before the Breloom faints. This is actually pretty good there, though I probably took way too much damage there for my own comfort with Breloom. So, however, I do manage to at least shut down this Salamence at least for 1 turn of the game here. So that's really good. Now my opponent doesn't have a means of Intimidate, but that's a, you know, really clever way of knocking out Breloom, and that's what I would do when I had difficulty beating it. Try to just Hyper Voice into the Sandin, because Breloom basically almost always has Focus Sash, maybe Scarf, maybe Life Orb, but Sash is basically the item you should be expecting. So with that, I think I'll take this opportunity to bring in Salamence. I do like Salamence a bit more right now. We did see that Bullet Punch did a bit more over 50%, so I would assume another one can take out the Tyranitar. So I wonder if I want to maybe predict that to switch out. So I'll go for... Yeah, I'll just go for another Bullet Punch here, and I'll go for the return onto the Salamence slot in case he wants to switch out into like Gardevoir. But it's kind of nice right now because I know that Gardevoir can't Mega Evolve, so and I do have the priority Bullet Punch and the Sand damage, and Salamence will outspeed it as well. And that extra belt actually allows me to KO that Tyranitar and 2-hit KO it even through Intimidate. So you can see how nicely constructed this team is. All those really, you would think like random items and, you know, Feint instead of Sword Stance and not Lumberry is kind of crazy, but it just works out perfectly. A Tyranitar is going to switch out here. I would guess for Excadrill, but it's going to be a Moongus. That is really, really good for me to see right now. He's also going to stay in with Salamence. So obviously I didn't go for the Dragon Claw because I was scared of the Gardevoir switch in. But this is really, really nice for me. Unfortunately, though, if he gets a 1-turn Wake Up with Salamence, we're still going to be in for a tricky game. But I do get the Bullet Punch off here against a Moongus. Rocky Helmet, however, not a surprise, really. He does stay asleep there with Salamence. Dragon Claw could have actually just sealed me the game there, I think. But unfortunately not the case. Salamence gets this return off, does a very good amount of damage. Obviously doesn't knock out the Salamence. Now it's going to be kind of tricky. So I'd rather withdraw the Scizor out into Nidoqueen here. If I had Hyper Voice on this Salamence, that would also be great. Yeah, I'm gonna withdraw because Bullet Punch, after I reset the Intimidate, should do a ton of damage. I mean, it knocks out Tyranitar, could potentially knock out Gardevoir as well. And it's not like I can do very much here because, I mean, I could Bug Bite Salamence, but the Intimidate doesn't do enough. So now I can go for another return. The question is, do I target Amoonguss or Salamence? Who do you protect here? Tricky turn here. Because you could just Spore into the Salamence slot. So return onto Amoonguss would technically be the safer play, because if he protects, the Salamence still has to wake up, but it's not like his chances of waking up are very slim. So what do I want to do? I'm gonna go for the Salamence target here, I think. Okay. So Scizor switches out. Actually, maybe? I don't know. It comes down to whether Amoonguss protects here or not. No, he goes for the Rage Powder. It's actually probably the better play. Let's see if he wakes up. Oh no, he's slower. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. That's really, really good news for me here. Or I guess we speed. No freaking way! You're kidding me? What? Effect Spore Amoonguss gets the sleep onto my Salamence. No way. Unbelievable. Wow. So obviously, like, with Rocky Helmet, I didn't even realize he didn't have. Oh my gosh. I mean, just Regenerator is typically the best item there, especially because, or best ability on Amoonguss, but it's like the one time you need Effect Spore to work, and it worked out. That's crazy. I mean, great for my opponent because that actually completely turns around my strategy and makes this game a lot more difficult to win, I think. Oh my gosh, really? Really? So he's gonna bring in Gardevoir here. Okay. What does he trace? Traces Sheer Force. So, I don't have much of an option. I'm gonna protect Nidoqueen here. I'm gonna have to sacrifice Salamence here, basically. That Effect Spore completely throws me off. I mean, I guess I got lucky enough that Salamence didn't wake up, but... That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I haven't seen a Rocky Helmet or Effect Spore Amoonguss since 2011. But I think I can still win the game since Scizor's Bullet Punch might be enough to just knock out all of my opponent's Pokemon at this point. It's gonna be a really close one, though. I also don't know how fast this Gardevoir is, so I'm hoping he knocks out my Salamence here so I get a free switch into my Scizor, but Scizor also took a lot of damage. I cannot believe that. So his Salamence takes the turn of sleep here. I guess if his Gardevoir goes for a Psychic, as it does, onto Nidoqueen. So it's still interesting because I could still wake up here with my Salamence. But, I'd actually would have preferred him to wake up there to knock out my Salamence. I don't like that very much. This is not good, actually. This is really not good. Unless I'm faster with Nidoqueen. So I'll Sludge Bomb. I don't know, if I get a one-turn wake up here, that would be great with Salamence as well. I'm going for the Rock Slide here. Then again, I guess this might be a repeat of last game where return would have been safer, but the chip damage on a Gardevoir is actually important here to put it in Bullet Punch KO range. I think Salamence stays asleep though, dang. So his Salamence will wake up. What does he go for? He's gonna go for the Draco here. Okay, so it's basically, is his Gardevoir faster than Nidoqueen, which you would think it is, and I think it will be faster as well. So, unfortunately, I think we're gonna have a loss here because of that Effect Spore Amoonguss of all things, but, unless the Gardevoir here is really slow. Let's see. Oh, Nidoqueen gets the Sludge Bomb off! Clutch! Is that enough to knock it out? Let's see. Picks up the KO! Nice! Wow, 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 wow. That is... I think that's game then on my end. Go Nidoqueen, you are clutch. So Scizor comes out now, and Bullet Punch knocks out both of his Pokemon. All I have to do is Bullet Punch, I mean, his Salamence doesn't do enough right now to seal up the game. Woo! And knowing that the Tyranitar's Choice Scarf, or I would presume so, I'll just Ice Beam and Bullet Punch. Wow, what a game. Well, it's still not over yet, but let's see. Let's see. Salamence used Draco, so Hyper Voice here, you know, obviously won't knock out Nidoqueen. Might not even knock out Scizor. Effect Spore Amoonguss, man, I still can't get over there right now. This is really going down to the wire, but I think we'll be able to seal it up, especially with that Expert Ball boosting Scizor's Bullet Punch. Crazy game so far. So unless the Tyranitar here does carry Protect, which, I mean, it's certainly still possible. We haven't confirmed the item on it, but just seeing like Gardevoir didn't have Scarf, I would assume like it was a dual Mega Team that you just decided to bring Gardevoir. And he protects with Salamence, that's going to be game. Wow. although Tyranitar protects her as well. But nope, Scizor gets the Bullet Punch off. There's really little reason to target Salamence when it's at -2 special attack, because, you know, the biggest move we could go for is a Double Edge. So the one way my opponent could have won there is the Tyranitar not being Choice Scarf, then he Double Edges with Salamence onto either of my Pokemon, because then he can Double Edge the following turn, and it becomes too much. But we're going to be able to seal up this one because Nidoqueen was so clutch and picked up the knockout there on the Gardevoir. But really all the Pokemon pulled its weight this game. My opponent's going to forfeit, and we take 2 wins in today's episode as well. So 4-0 start with Ben's team, and pretty well over the 1800s now, probably 1830s, 1840s. So couldn't have asked for a better 2 episodes to kick off, you know, this week, and that was really fun. Both games, really interesting Pokemon, really interesting sets, and Nidoqueen, you know, came through, Scizor came through, so we got to feature some Pokemon that we didn't feature in yesterday's episode. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I had a ton playing it, and you can see why this team is so much fun to use. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. As always, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, peace.